Okay, so it's Friday night, so it's Chinese chicken curry night. So we've got 3 small onions, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. We've got some chicken here, just covered in corn flour. You can just season it with a bit of salt. So we'll just start with the onions. I like them quite chunky. Obviously, have them however you want them. Okay, so we'll heat some oil. Bit of oil, stir that. Some butter, it just helps when you're doing onions, just for the flavour, etc. So this is Chinese chicken curry that you would get from your Chinese. We're going to try and make it as authentic and as tasty as we can. We all think it's just as good as getting a Chinese from the takeaway. And obviously if you've got a family of however many, it's going to be cheaper, a lot cheaper. So just whiz that round, shove in the onions and the garlic. Keep it on high at this point just to whiz it all around and get that heat up in the pan. So it's, well, just a couple of seconds more and then we're going to turn it down. Pop some salt and pepper in at this stage. You always need salt when you're frying onions. Where's my other salt?
Use that salt.
Pepper. Good amount of pepper. Right, turn on there. Use that if you have to. Where's my other salt? I'm turning mine so there's brand new salt somewhere. So just a bit, obviously it's fine sea salt. Right, so turn it down now. And you're going to gently soften those for about 7 or 8 minutes. Just well until they're kind of soft, but not too soft. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, so they're nicely softened. So the only things you need for your chicken curry is so simple, but it just is so delicious as well, is some mild Madras curry powder and some turmeric. So, depending on how hot you want it, obviously is how much you put in. Stick with the mild if you're doing it for kids. Well, I would just have mild anyway because it has got quite a kick even though it is mild. But obviously if you want it hotter, use a hotter curry powder. So let's say a teaspoon and a bit. Just turn it up a little bit. I reckon, oh, smell that. I reckon a little bit more. And then about the same again of turmeric. This is what obviously gives it that orangey Chinese curry flavour. That's it, colour even. So fry them off. You need to fry off that powder off the spices just so they don't taste powdery. And it releases all the flavours from the spices. So a bit more turmeric, just a tad. So with it, we're going to be having some fried rice, which I've frozen from last time, and it is a lot better when it's cool. But I'll show you that in a minute. So that looks fab, smells fab. We're going to go in with the chicken. So you can see it's coating all that chicken now into that lovely, look at that, Chinese cooking, Chinese curry flavour. Right, the next thing is chicken stock. Just hold on. Just want to fry that chicken off 2 or 3 minutes just to let it seal around the edges. So chicken stock pot, what did we ever do without chicken stock pots? They're amazing. We do use them all the time. So that'll about do. These chicken pieces are quite large actually, probably could have done them a little bit smaller, but it doesn't matter at all. So I'll just put probably that to start with. We can always add more if we need to. Stir it around, doesn't matter if it goes in a big lump at the end, it'll all dissolve. Okay, so in with that stock. Turn it up a bit now. I think we just need a little bit more water. The corn flour on the chicken is obviously a thickening agent, but we will need to add some more at the end to thicken it up properly. So that is the actual base of it, that's pretty much done. We're going to add everything at the end. Obviously it needs to cook through now for about 20 minutes for that chicken to cook through. Obviously do need to ensure, well it will be, we're going to be cooking it for at least another 40 minutes, so it'll be absolutely fine, but obviously you need to cook through that chicken and make sure that it's cooked. Slurp of wine for Mumsy. Right, so we'll come back in about 20 minutes. Okay, so this has been gently simmering for about, excuse me, about 20 minutes. Chips are going to go in, just frozen chips is fine. Probably prefer to get the chunky ones, but that's not them, all I've got, so they're fine. So let's just check the chicken. I mean, you can just tell when it's cooked because it's firm, and again we're going to warm it all through properly later. So it's still a bit watery, so we're going to thicken it up with some corn flour. So a couple of teaspoons. It always gets all over, I hate it. We'll go with that, we can always add more. So, just stir that round in with some cold water, it just dissolves straight away, and shove it in. So, straight away you can see that it's starting to thicken up. Might just need a tad more, I'm going to turn it up. Just hang on a minute.
Nice curry.
Yeah, I reckon just another, these are tiny teaspoons, it's probably 2 teaspoons with a normal teaspoon. This is like a little mini one. Again, a little bit of cold water. Shove that in. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to add some frozen peas. Optional, don't have to add them, but Our Chinese from around here always comes with them in, so just shove them in. A bit of a clump, but it doesn't matter. Turn it down slightly, it's a bit ferocious. Just leave that and they'll just separate as it gets hotter. Might just need a bit more cornflour actually. Just go with one of these digital. Okay, so we're doing fried rice with it, we're doing prawn crackers. I'll show you the prawn crackers that I bought online, right, that'll be fine now. Excuse me. So these are just that I bought online for £6. I mean, we've used this bag probably how many times, Maisie?
5.
5 times already, and there's still all that left, so that is just, you know, it's going to last you forever. Well, you know what I mean. So, stir that round. It smells yummy yumptious. Right, so we're going to move this to the back burner and then we'll just come back in a couple of minutes when I'm ready to do the rice. Okay, so I've moved to the back burner. I've actually added just one more bit of corn flour. Don't use a little tea. You need 2 decent teaspoons because it does need to have that consistency. So just leave that on low just to let it amalgamate all through together. Shove that on low. So the chips only went in, what, 5-ish minutes ago, so they're going to be a good half an hour. I like to do them on a bit quite low first, just to sort of soften them, and then we'll turn it up at the end, which is kind of a cheat for double frying them if you were to use a fryer, but obviously they are only oven chips. So we'll leave that on about 150 for about 15-20 minutes, and then just hang on for a minute.
Oh, it smells so nice.
We're going to do the rice and the prawn crackers. I'll explain the rice when we come to it, so probably 15 minutes and we'll come back. Okay, so chicken curry is just on the back burner. That's fine, don't need to worry about that. So the rice. So as I said before, it is better to cook it and then cool it, preferably in the fridge. This is a batch from last week, which I've just frozen, obviously defrosted it. It just is better. As you can see, the grains separate, whereas if you were just to cook it and then cook it straight away, it's just stodgy. But, you know, needs must. If you have to do it that way, that's fine. So the fried rice, you just need a little bit of oil. It is surprising how quickly it coats the rice, and obviously you don't want it greasy. A little knob of butter, it just adds for the flavour and it's just better. I'm then going to get just a little tip actually. If you've got oil that you've used, rather than just throwing it, obviously if you've done anything fishy or anything like that, that's different, but if you've just been frying potatoes or whatever, for sieve, kitchen roll, just pour it in and it just drips through, and then you're left with just that residue there which you can just throw. And if you just look at the oil in there, Maisie, that's just clean oil that's just been filtered basically. So we're going to use that for the prawn crackers. Okay, so we're going to put the oil on for both the rice and the prawn crackers. Right, let's just let that whiz round a bit. Chips have been in about 15 minutes on 150. I'm now going to turn them up to about 200. If I had those chunkier chips, I'd do it a bit higher, but they are quite thin. Right. Chuck in the rice. Don't worry about any lumps, they will just sort themselves out once they get hotter. So you can see how it all just separates and you just know that it's going to fry nice. And so just cover it, coat it all. Don't force the lumps, they will just separate themselves. So you can see it coats pretty well. There's a little bit of oil still left on the bottom and there's a bit of a glisten on each of the rice. I do actually think it's probably just, I don't want it to be too, put a tiny little, just that's fine. Twist of salt, because I don't know, we add some soy sauce to it, but just a twist of salt just to bring out the flavour. Curry's still just shutting it back. Right, so let's come back when all those lumps have gone. Okay, so the rice is just frying nicely. You can turn it down a little bit because you do want it all separated. You don't want it oily and you want it nice, properly fried. The next thing you add to that, well, at the end, is soy sauce. I've said before, try not to use dark. I think the saying is dark for sauce, light for seasoning, and really we need it for seasoning. But it's fine, that's all I've got. So the cow crackers. Right, okay, I'm moving a bit too soon, but never mind, it's okay. Keep frying this off. You want to fry this really for a good 15 minutes, especially if it's, oh there we go, you know, already been cooked and cooled. Everybody knows the stories of rice, you've got to cook it through. So that was the one I tested. Don't attempt to eat it like that. Well, just try and you'll know exactly what I mean. It's like, I don't know, you think, oh my God, I've done it wrong. Just, you haven't, just leave it to cool. It just tastes, well, I don't know, just do it yourself and you know what I mean. So, a few more in. Don't overcrowd the pan. And then we're going to carry on with the rice. Chips are browning nicely now I've turned them up. Give them a flip over. That's what I mean about don't overcrowding it, because otherwise that's enough there. What is there? 6. Don't cook them too long either, because they will start to brown. It's not a major problem, but if you leave it too long, obviously they'll burn. So, entirely up to you how many you do. My kids are going to have this later on for supper. What did we say, 6? So just a few of those, they're just literally to dip in, aren't they? Right, back to the rice, Maisie. Oh, go on and leave that. Slurp of wine again.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
You can also get, I mean, I'll show you one time, you can get Asian crisps from your local Asian store. And they're absolutely delicious, and they're like tiny little small pieces, and then you put them in and they puff up. Quite satisfying, even more than these bad boys. Right, I mean, look at all that. What did we do? 2 handfuls. Let's just do one more that I've got here.
Do a video of
Let's go for 6 again.
Granddad's delicious chips.
Although they went in an instant last week, didn't they? Right, so back to the rice. Let's just turn it up a tad. Give them a spin. So you can hear that rice crackling now, that's fine, leave it. Ow! Turn that off. So just onto some kitchen roll, just to burn off the excess. Leave them to cool. I mean, probably all right warm, but like I say, just taste them and you'll know exactly what I mean. It's kind of like polystyrene when they're like that, but right. So this does just look a tiny bit dry to me, so I am just going to put just a little bit over it like that. Obviously this is Friday night tea, I'm not suggesting that you do this, but you're cooking it yourself, you know what's in there, you're not ordering from a takeout. I mean, sometimes I think Chinese these days just get it out of the freezer in one of those plastic tubs and microwave it, so you know you don't want that, especially when you're paying £7 or £8 for a main course. So try and use light. As I said, I've got dark, it doesn't matter, but light is just more light, surprisingly. So you see now there's a bit more coating on there. Chips and chipping, let's just have a little look. See what I mean, maybe? Just going to give them a little, you want them crispy, there's nothing worse than a soggy chip. As much or less as you like. It is obviously a seasoning as well, quite salt, well, very salty. Keep frying that round. You do want that dry pan at the end, just so you know you're not too greasy. Get every bit of rice coated in that soy sauce. And then we'll come back when we are ready to serve up, which probably at least sorry, maximum 5 minutes-ish from now. Put the curry on, that'd help. Okay. So, 5 minutes when the chips are a bit more crispy. Okay. Final push-up. I switched the rice off a little bit, but we just switched it back on now, just waiting for the chips. They are 30 seconds from being ready, so just warm that through. I mean, it's still hot, just give it another fry through. So this is Friday night Chinese chicken curry, fried rice, prawn crackers and chips. I mean, we used to have this back in the day all the time. That is absolutely yummy. Hear that crackling now? So the most expensive thing is the chicken breast. I mean, that's probably a £5. There was 3 chicken breasts in there. So yeah, £5. Everything else you've got in your cupboard, your salt, you know, even if you haven't, the turmeric's about 60p. Same with the curry powder. A bag of rice is about 80p, and I've still got all that left there. That's going to last at least another 3 or 4 Fridays. Peas are, you know, nothing. The prawn crackers, yeah, they were £6 online. But as May said, this was the 6th time of using, and we've still got about bag doesn't even look used. So economical wise, it's great. You know what you're cooking, you know what's in there. You're not giving your kids a lot of crap. I mean, yeah, there is oil and butter, but it is a takeaway meal, so it's never going to be fat free. Right, let's turn that off. So I'm going to put the rice in a small tureen. So you end up with a nice, dry, clean pan. Give it a little buzz about. Shove that over there. Wow. Curry is done. Just keep that on. Turn the oven off. Put some chips into one of these. Don't use a tea towel like I do. Like I even have another one here that I never use. Wow, now I know why, because that is useless. That's going in the bin. Going back to a tea towel. Right, so, I mean those chips could probably even do another 5 minutes, but it's okay, they're alright. Okay, so we've got chips there, just give the chips a twist. Not too much because they're for the kids. No, they're fine, they're nice and crispy. Back to the curry. You don't just plonk it all in there. A lot of time I've got a tub that I will then freeze for the next week. Or just a midweek quickie. Okay. There we have Chinese chicken curry. I'm not just saying this, it is what I think is the same as, if not better. You can't say that a lot about takeaways, and if you try and make a curry, I'm sure you've tried, it's never the same. But this is, and it's so simple. We've got our prawn crackers here. So we've got prawn crackers, chicken curry, chips and rice.